Next, I'm going to finish the underside of the hood. I just pulled the hood off yesterday. I had a friend stop and help me. And so there's a couple things I need to do. I made a new catch for my hood latch that I'm using the 09. And I made this out of stainless steel. TIG welded it together, and that fits down in there like that. Gets bolted on. So you can see there's a couple areas. Pull that camera over here. So I've got a couple areas to fill in. The stock latch fit in that space. And so when I'm done, I'll fill this in, make that smooth. I'll finish up the little odd and end holes. I'm going to clean all these holes up. I cut the hood here when I took the stock hump out. I need to finish welding this hood filler that fits down against the grill. If you remember, I rounded that edge and now I'm starting to weld. I'll finish welding that and sand it off, and I'll show you what that looks like afterward. Here's my hood molding mounting points. That's where I added the pipe through here, so my studs go all the way through and they won't crush that. I've cut out an area here for my scoop, you know, the one that fits up against the supercharger. And I'm making some panels. I'll fill in these areas. I'll just clean everything up. I'll make something back here to close this in. All the little holes, I'm gonna plug those with something. So I'll show you how that hood scoop, the one that fits over this one here, I'll take that off and lay it on the hood. So this is the one I'm talking about. So it lays, of course, across the radiator cover. And so that's what we have right there. You'll see this is the margin that I've shown a few times. It's about 5/8. This lips over the grill. And so I had to cut the area down here. Area down there to accept that part of it. You can see it through there. So that's what I need to finish that up. I'm going to do all that stuff today. Just clean this hood up today. So I'll show you more progressive pictures as I proceed here. What do you think? Time for a new brush yet? Getting close. So I weld about anywhere between 1 inch to 2 inches. Just tap, 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 and knit those together. And just work my way around the panel. Here, here, here. I space it out, cool it, go back, cool it, go back. I continue to do that until I've got a continuous weld all the way through here. Some guys say they would rather TIG this, it's going to be cleaner. For me, MIG welding is so much quicker than TIG welding. I'll TIG some parts, but a lot of my parts I do are done with the MIG welder, and I know most people would probably have a MIG before they have a TIG. So whatever works best for you. Maybe a little more grinding, but it doesn't take that long. My settings, I always go up an extra notch on my settings. So this is 22 gauge material. So I set my machine on 20 gauge, so it's a little hotter. It just melts it quicker. I just like it better. You may not want to do that. It may blow holes in there or whatever. But again, that's personal preference. I would rather set my machine a little bit hotter. So I'm going to continue to weld this, and I'll get it all welded up, and then I'll show you when I'm done. So I finished welding that whole strip, and so it's ready to sand down or grind off the welds and then finish. I like to kind of work in one area and finish it up. So I'll want to grind this down here in a little bit and finish it, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and finish this area, fill in these holes. These are stock holes. I'm going to make some plugs and weld those shut, fill this in, and then I'll sand everything down and move on to the next area. Showed you just a minute ago. This is where the scoop for my supercharger tucks in there. I had to cut that out there for clearance. And so I laid it in and marked the two areas, or I marked the outside area of the scoop, and those are right here. And so everything clears, but obviously I don't want to keep a hole looking like that. So I'm going to make a little pattern here, and once I get the shape that I like, I'll mark it on the hood and then cut that out. So I have a nice clean line on both sides that are duplicated, and then I'll cut a piece of sheet metal and make a little pocket right here and weld that together, so when it's done it'll look really good. That's the plan anyways. So the way I make patterns, I usually start with a piece of poster board and I cut it, and once I get one side figured out the way I want it, I'm thinking I want to drop this down a little bit and level this piece off here as well. So I think I'm pretty close right there to what I want. And I'm going to give me a nice straight line on this side, see what that measures. So currently that's 3 3/8, so cut pretty straight. I think I want that to be somewhere, let's say here, and then I'm going to come down below that radius. So I want that to be about 3 inches. So I'm going to mark this piece 3 inches, Be better if I was doing this on a workbench, but this will work. So now my piece is 3 inches wide this way. Cut that out with scissors. And I kind of like that shape. That fits the opening of my scoop. So I'm kind of carrying that throughout. So I'll lay that on there, and that looks good. So right here's my top. I'm gonna make this piece mark it and cut my hole, whatever this shape is. So my center point is right here. I know that. And so what I'll do is I'll bend that right on that mark. I'll fold that piece over. And I'll duplicate the other side. That's a nice, handy little way of doing it. If you've never done it that way, it's a, I don't know if you call it a trick or call it a tip. My tip of the day, bend that over. Might have learned that in kindergarten or something too, but I don't remember. That's been too long ago. So now I got a perfect pattern. It's the same on both sides. I can lay this over here. A lot of times I'll use a magnet. Hold it in place, give you some idea. That'll hold it in place. And I take a marker, and lower that just a little bit. Cut some more of that out down there. That's my center point. So now I can mark what I want to cut. So I'll take a saw and cut that out right on that line, and then I'm going to make a pattern that will lay in there and roll around that so it looks like it was stamped, hopefully. So I'll work on that a little bit and show you the next steps.